One, welcome everybody to That's Game Stuff. It's a monthly roundabout talk about video games. Uh, Even though I think we missed last month, so we're sorry about that. We had lots of stuff. It was a busy month, so we had to skip it last month. But we're back, and the big news this time was the leak of Sony's Project Q. So Sony's rumored, well, I guess it's not a rumor anymore, but Sony's new handheld device. There you see it in all its glory, playing what appears to be God of War. Runs Android. I've seen that. So what do you guys think about Project Q? It looks like a tablet connected to a PlayStation 5 controller. So,
Well, they did actually. They announced this at the PlayStation showcase, but they didn't show anything about it. This is what leaked was a bunch of people who got it hands on and stuff. They showed the UI and everything. I don't know about this one. It's not Switch, so it's not native to the console. It's not Steam Deck, so it's not native. It's just streaming from the PS5. So if it's no better than an iPad, I don't see the use for it. Because I just use an iPad, which I don't use anyway, but it needs to actually work way better than any streaming capability of a phone. So I don't know about this one.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I'm not a huge fan of handheld gaming devices. I mean, I know we had the Game Boy and stuff and everything else when I was a kid, but I have a Switch. I don't play my Switch. I had a PS Vita, didn't play the Vita. We have people who have Steam Decks. We have a friend who has a Steam Deck who's very proud of that. I'm sorry, I just don't. This is not my thing. Even the what was it, the Nintendo Wii U or whatever. I didn't really care for it. It's I just don't. I don't like. Okay. Well, it's just I just don't like handheld games. I don't know why. It's just. When I sit down when I sit down and play something, I like to sit down and play something. I don't want to play it on the go. I have other things I do on the go, but
Pokemon Go?
No, never that. But is this solely a streaming hardware? It's not an actual
you can't actually even go anywhere. This is made for people who are with someone that wants to use the TV, and so they pop it off and they start playing their thing.
So Carlos, this is just for Carlos.
Not even for Carlos, really.
No, Carlos would hate this.
He could just play on his TV because this has too much light. This is for married couples when
this is for Alex.
This for Alex with Anna right now. Yeah, 100%.
Okay, I got you.
It's not impressive. It just looks like a backbones on a.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it just looks like an iPad hooked up to a PS5 controller.
When I first saw it, it looks like the Switch screen, and someone just put custom PS Joy-Cons on it.
Joy-Cons.
We need to see how it actually works before I can actually make any judgment. Because if it works really well, that's actually very.
If there's cool features,
but not a use for me.
No. Yeah, as we kind of talked about it last time with Nintendo and their new device. I think handhelds just need to do something different. They gotta be different. Just because we have Steam, like you guys were saying, we have the Switch, so you gotta really have something different to stand out. I know a lot of people's reaction was the Vita has a big fan base. And they were kind of disappointed in this because it's not even capable of what the Vita could do, as in terms of taking games, portable and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's probably a really early build, I'm guessing.
The thing's supposed to apparently be out this fall.
Whoa!
Crap!
That's what everyone's saying. They're this is supposed to be out November. But
this could
someone did not do the PR well on that one.
Yeah. Well, the rumor is a showcase will happen in September. It'll be out in November. That's the second showcase of PlayStation.
Just
hopefully
they're for the holiday.
They better come up with something then.
There's going to be a slim PS5, I think, that's coming.
Oh, nice.
Slim PS5.
It's as big as a normal console.
They ratchet it down to something manageable.
Michael, just could you like estimate how much this is gonna sell? If it's just
this? Oh Jesus.
Yeah, if not much more is
if this is it for this to hit, like I feel like their dream goals with this would be like 1 million. I can't see it doing more than that for like dream goals. Because like this is such a niche thing. It's like, hey, do you have a spouse that wants to watch reality TV at night? Here, grab your Q Lite and pop your console onto a handheld device. Like it's just.
Do you think it'll be a flop? Or
I don't know how much they put into this. Like it does have its own UI, which kind of surprised me. Like in the videos that they show.
Oh, really?
Like it has its literal own home base. It's not the PlayStation 5 UI. It looks different, weird, and everything. So I have no. I'm interested to see the breakdown video of how they sell this thing.
Did they mention a price at all?
It's the initial rumors were 100, but I would guess 200.
Yeah,
really that low?
Yeah, like it's not going to be very much, but
okay.
That's one thing for it, but still, I just don't think it's worth it. But
no,
did they give specs on like the screen? Or?
I know it's bigger than the Switches. I think it's a little bit bigger than the OLED Switch, if I remember correctly.
Is it an OLED screen?
I don't remember.
Yep, OLED panel.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, interesting little thing.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to
good Lord, Joseph.
The charts.
Chart.
So we have May, since we missed last month, and June should be out pretty soon. So obviously Legends of Zelda was top, which I don't think is surprising for May. We don't know. I haven't seen much on Final Fantasy yet, so that'll be out pretty soon. But so far in 2023, Hogwarts Legacy holding tight to that number 1 spot. And then we have Legend of Zelda, which shot up real fast, but that's not really surprising because it's a Nintendo IP. And then Call of Duty still up there at number 3. Star Wars at 4, Resident Evil 4 at 5. MLB The Show.
What's with MLB The Show? Like
the game always sells well, man.
Yeah.
Who's playing Dead Island?
Dead Island 2, number 7.
I didn't even know that came out.
I think that was April actually that it came out.
Well, it's been in development hell for like 10 years.
Yeah, at least 10 years.
FIFA 23, which is always pretty good.
Yeah, that's just Europeans, whatever.
I think this is the last one, isn't it?
Yeah, because they had to get rid of the name.
Yeah.
Now it's like I forgot. I can't remember what the heck the new name is.
Dead Space, the remake, number 9, and then Madden rounding it out. So pretty normal stuff. Anyone surprised by Hogwarts?
No, not really.
There, I don't really hear much about it anymore, just because all the new stuff came out. I guess that just means everyone bought it when it came out.
Also, Hogwarts also came out, or in May they came out with the PS4 and Xbox 360 versions. So a whole group of people got to actually play it.
I heard they're porting it to the Switch. Is that true?
November.
Really?
I don't know how on earth that game's gonna run it.
But I was gonna say like it's gonna be like 8-bit graphics.
I said that about the PS4 and 360 and or Xbox One. I said Xbox 360. Good lord, the PS4 and Xbox One. But apparently it runs great on it. I'm like, how?
I've always wanted to buy Witcher on Switch. See, I want to see how that runs because I'm just like, there's no way. There's no way.
All right, and then I guess the other big news is Remnant 2 is everyone's favorite game right now. I've never even heard of the first Remnant.
It's so fun. I want to play the second one so badly.
But, so you played the first one?
Is the Remnant the immortal guy? What am I thinking of?
Remnant is Dark Souls it's a third-person shooter, but Dark Souls style. Right. So you can play 3-player co-op through the whole game, Dark Souls style, but with guns. It's very fun. It's like, I don't know. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's what the kids are into.
Apparently the second was amazing.
Still haven't heard of it.
I know that people are just going nuts for this new one. They're saying it's like the best game of the year. So
I'm pretty hyped for.
We shall see.
I am actually going to buy. I finally got paid. I'm actually going to buy the new Telltale game, The Expanse. So
is that out?
Yeah, first episode is.
Nice.
So they're still doing that weird Telltale thing of releasing one episode at a time.
Yeah.
So
weird,
but.
They actually have a schedule set this time though, instead of just
instead of like,
you'll get the next
one.
one.
Well, it's like we might have this out. Good luck.
Well, so we'll hear your review next month when you've played it. All right,
and I'll actually have some time off. So
on to the topics for this week. I'm going to go first because mine's going to take 1 second. So I have a knife.
The way you're
about to say, we might not hear it.
I got a knife.
Oh my!
And with this knife, I'm gonna open some products.
Oh, you got the Starfield stuff. Nice.
I got the Starfield.
Nice. You finally got a new controller.
I did. I finally got a new
I like to hear you crying on Halo, dude.
I can't run. I'm the only guy that's not running. I still get my kills though.
Dude, running sucks in Halo. Every time I run, I die. You can't run in that game.
And our running's not good. So I'm gonna open these while you guys talk about your topics. So who wants to go first?
I'm gonna go first.
Okay.
Sure.
That way you can think about your answer while you're opening stuff. But with the exception of Spider-Man 2, what is your favorite? Remember when video games used to make games for every movie and they'd have tie-ins? What is your favorite video game tie-ins? That's nice.
That is nice.
It's pretty.
It's very pretty.
Cool. It's got the meteor for the button. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like all mapped out to actual ship controls. So like next to one of the buttons is like throttle. One of them is something else. It's very cool.
That's cool.
Quick examples is Aladdin on the Genesis. We own that one, and it was always fun. It was like one of the hardest games. I don't think I've ever beaten that game legit. I like the
You can see inside the.
I was about to say, are they translucent? That's awesome.
Yeah. So our favorite tie-in games?
Yeah.
Besides
Spider-Man 2.
I'd say that's hard.
I had another one, or I had two, but then we talked about like news, and then it all escaped me. And not just like movies, you can say like TV shows, because I remember like the PS1 had that Rugrats game that was super fun.
Mm-hmm.
I was really into that, and then just any tie-in video game.
What's funny is that you say Spider-Man 2, but for me, I have really good memories of the Spider-Man N64 PS1 tie-in game for the TV show, the cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
And also I think it's funny that the first one is kind of overshadowed by the second one is the first Spider-Man video game movie tie-in, because if you're like an Evil Dead fan, there's a lot more callbacks to Sam Raimi stuff in that one, because it's also narrated by Bruce Campbell, which is like the whole thing is narrated by Bruce Campbell. And that's kind of. Go ahead.
You can use unlock the Green Goblin if you beat it on the hardest difficulty or whatever, and it's super fun to fly around the open areas.
Mm-hmm.
He narrated a lot of them till like the second one, right? Because he did the first two on the 64 and PlayStation.
Yeah. But I remember especially one just being well, that's pretty cool. Just being like really just is it, and it's funny, I didn't really appreciate it until I got older and started getting into like the horror movies and stuff. But there's a lot of inside Sam Raimi jokes in that movie or in that video game.
I think everyone has this memory, but going to like also kids, they used to have like demo like stations to play games. Going to like Target or whatever, playing that Lord of the Rings 2 game, the Two Towers game.
Gosh.
What was going to be my next mention though is Lord of the Rings Return to the King. That game F's. Like that game is so awesome. Man, that was a lot of fun, especially if you were just like, it was like super violent too, which is great. But the controls for that were so smooth, were so good. I don't know if the Third Age counts as a tie-in or not. That's kind of its own thing.
Yeah, that's kind of its own thing.
But that's one of my favorites as well. And I have one more. It's not exactly a movie tie-in. It's a series tie-in. It's Gundam, Mobile Suit Gundam, The Journey to Jaburo. It covers the first half of the first season of the original Gundam.
I was actually talking with Carlos the other day about Gundam games. I haven't really liked one since that fighting game on PS1.
See, I didn't even like that one. My favorite was Mobile Suit Gundam Federation versus Zeon. It takes place during the first or the 1 year war, and you basically operated as this independent unit from the Federation or the Zeon. You could choose sides, Zeon or Federation.
Yeah.
And you could basically, yes, Joseph, we see that. You could basically choose how or what battles you wanted to do, and during the progression of the 1 year war, you came in contact with the series people like Char and Amuro, that kind of stuff.
Well, I downloaded the SD. I don't know the title. It was a long title. The SD Gundam one on Game Pass, and it's kind of doing that same thing. Except it's not based in a certain time period. It's just like all the characters are like converging.
What's funny about that though is that what is that in the middle? Oh, is this okay? I got you.
You gotta put it in your ears.
We see the foam. We see the foam there, Joe. What's funny about the Federation versus Zeon thing? You could play the missions of like the series, like the anime, but you could only like interact with stuff that's going on outside of the main stuff, because if you got in the middle of like Char versus Amuro, you'd be like one hit like immediately, like you're just like cannon fodder. Like you're like, move, peasant, and then you would like you couldn't replay the mission. So
talk about like there's a ton of bad tie-in fighting games in the PS1 era, like that terrible Digimon one, and then
dude,
I like the Gundam one, and then there was a terrible X-Men one. Or it wasn't. It was kind of cool because it had like Nightcrawler with his swords, but then there was that really it was okay, that Dragon Ball Z one, Dragon Ball Z 22 or something like that.
Oh yeah, that one was good.
Yeah.
I remember because I have two younger brothers, because we would go out and rent video games, and they chose like this, or my mom and dad chose the safe option, which was like any of the Marvel tie-in like movie video games, and those were god awful. Like like the Iron Man one and the Thor one specifically.
I played the Iron Man one on Wii.
Oh no.
It was a disappointing game for sure. Rented it though, I didn't buy it.
All right, Michael, you go.
Firstly, dear Lord, I cannot believe we got back on Gundam.
I know. Hey, this podcast is going the right way, man.
It's infecting the other ones and spreading.
Good.
Remember all those sweet Star Trek games? No,
secondly,
there's only one Star Trek game that's
going back to Joseph unboxing his controller. How I forget that it's a thing that Xbox still uses AA batteries. I forget that's a thing, and then I see him pop in AA batteries. I'm like, it is not 2007 anymore. What are we doing, Xbox? Jesus. Anyway.
It's good for about a week, maybe.
Man, it's still, whatever. I don't know. I just put mine on a dock and take it off, it's charged off the thing. Silly. But yeah, you guys named some good ones there. Obviously, the Spider-Man one, like Thomas brought up, was actually very, very good. People always tout Spider-Man 2, but Spider-Man 1 is a very good single player straight through game.
What's funny about that? I think the Spider-Man 1 game looks better.
Oh, it absolutely looks better.
Game. But I mean, there's less to do because it's more of a linear world, but it looks really good.
Yeah, definitely. And going along the lines of that, the Batman Begins game was really cool.
Crap! I forgot about that one.
That was very like realistic detective Batman.
Was so good
and very sneaky, very much like. Not like these Arkham games where it's like kung fu pow and vision through wall stuff. Like, he was very detective-y and seriously. Oh my God, Joseph. Oh my goodness.
Never do that on camera.
And then,
dude, the combat was awesome.
Dude, it was so cool, man, for that time.
Well, I remember like watching the special features for it, and they came up with like a martial arts style for Batman, and they motion capped that for the video game.
I remember watching that with Alex.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That game is great. And then you guys, the Lord of the Rings games. My God, dude, I devoured those games. Not so much the first one. I played the first one, but I didn't really.
Was there a first one?
Yeah, it was on the. I think it might have been. I don't remember.
It was on the GameCube.
It didn't look great. It didn't play great. But 2
I only remember 2 in Return of the King.
That's the only ones people played, or people cared about. But
that first one was hard.
It was real ugly.
Yeah.
But dude, Return of the King, I devoured that game. Alex and I would play it because Alex didn't like because the more you level up and you get like the power abilities, so you have like purple or lighty arrows and your swords would glow. And Alex and we were like, we want the realism of Lord of the Rings, so we would not level up and play through the whole game and just do the other stats. So it looks like we're actually fighting in the movie and it's not glowing colors and everything. It was awesome.
Dude, like
this isn't real.
Like Gandalf's like power orb thing that he had, that was my go-to like power. Because it was that protective orb, you could just like run through orcs. Like, I'm getting all the kills.
I still have those games. I need to pop those in, man. Those games are so good. And then another one's going off of, because, I'm a big Harry Potter fan. The Harry Potter games are very hit and miss. 2 is like, it's like a campy classic now. Like, it's a cult classic game for people of just Flipendo. It's all it is, run around saying that the whole time. Very simple. But then you get to 3 where it went first open world, which is pretty cool. Well, open area. It's like a open region kind of game. 4, so it went from 1, which was okay, 2, which was interesting, cute, and then 3, which took a real leap into the open areas and everything, and then 4 just went back to, that must have been the most tie-in game of anything ever that they did not even try on. Like, it is just like, run down this hallway, say a few things, there's this little thing, poof, that's all. Like, it was just like 8 levels for the whole game.
Dang.
I don't even remember. It was such a bad game. 4 was terrible, and then we went back to 5 and they went back to the open world kind of, that was like true open world Hogwarts before Hogwarts Legacy. I never played 6 or 7 though, or 7 part 2, either of those. But yeah, 3 and 5 were really, really good in my opinion. Any others I can think of at the moment? Wasn't I played the X-Men Origins Wolverine. People actually liked that, right? Is that the one people liked that they thought Wolverine was? Yeah.
That's the one everyone went back to, and they're like, "This is actually really
and
good."
You go down to like this. I remember the like first level area. It was good.
Which is the
combat.
one that was voiced by Mark Hamill, like that really violent one? Do you remember that?
No idea.
No.
It's pretty cool because
it was on. I remember what you're talking about.
It was on the original Xbox, and it was pretty cool.
It was later than that original Xbox. I think it was 360.
I don't know, but you start off as like the Weapon X experiment, and it's like it's pretty violent.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then I guess just shout out to all the Lego games that take from the movies. Those are all fun.
Those are good. So I grew up in the glory days of licensed games. So we had like the Noid. We had Cool Spot. Cool Spot was actually a pretty good game.
The heck is Cool Spot?
So he's the logo for 7-Up. So the 7-Up dot. If you put like glasses on him and legs and hands, you got
yourself
Cool
a hero.
Mick Kids is really good. It's a McDonald's game, and it's like Super Mario 3. So that one was really good. I'm surprised Jared didn't mention the Episode 1 game.
Oh yeah, Pod Racer was good.
No, Pod Racer is good.
No, I know, but I always have to bring that up when I can.
Oh, okay. But I am talking about just the Episode 1 game, which was real fun. Mostly because the Tatooine level, you could just go around like force pushing the citizens and stuff, and like,
you can take out the whole city.
Yeah, they get real mad at you. They're like, they start calling you the killer, and they start like chasing you around and stuff. So it's pretty cool. What else? You could set the Lego games. There's another Lego. There's some Lego games before like they got the license. So like Lego Racer, where you could build your own Lego car. That was pretty fun. Porsche had their own game, just called the Porsche game. No, Volkswagen. Do you remember the Volkswagen Beetle game?
No.
Yeah, that was okay.
No.
For 64.
Yeah, you just race Volkswagen Beetles around. What else? Apparently Croc is a tie-in to Lifesaver gummies. Because that's what you collect in that game is Lifesaver gummies. So
did you like these, or are we just naming them now?
I love Croc.
Croc was good though. Croc was good.
Croc was good.
Don't roll your eyes.
Yeah, I'll roll my eyes.
I think that's it.
I feel like I had one more come in my head, but I can't remember what it was.
I mean, Star Wars, all those. There's a lot of Star Wars games that are good. Like the Episode 2 Jedi Starfighter. That one was really good. And that was co-op, so that was really cool.
The Bounty Hunter game. I mean,
yeah, it was a great game.
That was pretty awesome.
Great game. What happened to license game? Where's the Barbie game?
There are a ton of Barbie games. What are you talking about? there are hundreds of them. Like,
where's the Oppenheimer game?
We have that. It's called World War II games.
Yeah, you don't get to create the atomic bomb.
Let me do the math, Thomas. Jeez.
Let me manage Alamogordo or Los Alamos, the whole town. Yeah. So, I was gonna mention the volume control is like on the ear thing.
It's big.
And then the balance is over here, so that's kind of interesting.
Big old wheels.
And then there's a gold button right here that you push to turn it on.
Oh.
Okay. So who wants to go for their next topic?
I guess I'll go because you have a question, right, Thomas? Not a topic or not like a game?
I mean, it's a question, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll break it up. We'll go with my game that I've been playing and let you continue. So I've been playing since whenever the heck it came out, Final Fantasy XVI, which is a very backwards and forwards game. Like at points, I'm like, this game is amazing. At other points, I'm like, why? Why is it this way?
So a Final Fantasy game
is
what you're saying.
I've heard something really surprising in that this is the first Final Fantasy game where they cuss.
It is a Game of Thrones-ified Final Fantasy game. Like they're effing everything is just there's sexy people going around. It's a mature game for sure because I think it is the first mainline mature Final Fantasy game. But
yeah, that kind of takes some of the charm out of it, though.
Yeah.
I like the quasi innocence of a Final Fantasy game, where it's like, oh, sexy people, but they do nothing.
There's there's a couple scenes, but you don't actually see anything really. But anyway, but yeah, the game it's so frustrating. So going into the game beforehand, like I'm actually a big proponent of 15. Some people poo-poo 15, but I think a lot of people are coming around on revision.
I like 15.
I like 15.
Yeah, I love 15.
I got lost in the fishing.
Yeah, and so coming to this one, they were like, hey, we didn't do an open world game because we wanted to focus on the areas we built and really flesh them out, make everything like immersive and everything in that. That is so far from what the open areas of this game are. Like it feels like something from Dragon's Dogma with less stuff. Like Dragon's Dogma, I love, but Dragon's Dogma is 13 something years old or 11 years old or something like that. Like it's emptier than a game.
It is empty.
It's like the areas in Final Fantasy 16 are so useless, so empty. I'm like, why would you? Because you obviously just wanted to make a narrative, straightforward game, but they wanted to give people their money's worth or whatever. Because everyone complains like, I paid $70, but I'm not getting 250,000 hours out of it. Good Lord.
Where's my chocobo race?
Yeah.
I love your angry video game voice or video game voice.
I paid my money. Give me anyway. But it's so frustrating because like you like I'll say like the first part of the game I think is definitely the strongest so far. So the first kind of act and then going into you kind of learning the pattern of the game, we'll say that way. But like the acting is incredible. The characters are so good. The visuals are insane. The combat is great. What everyone says about it is true. All those things absolutely fantastic. And they don't really bounce into these weird areas till probably 5 or 6 hours into the game at least. And then you finally hit the first open area. You're like, okay, this is okay. Maybe that's just like a one-off. You're like, okay, maybe it's just a one-off. Then it gets into this weird pattern of to where you have a destination to go to, and you take the path to it. You go through the whole empty areas, whatever. Then you get to the main mission part, and it kind of gives you the options to do side quests. And I've been doing them because I'm an idiot. And so the side quests are literally The only side quests of note are they're the normal green icons, and there's the plus green icons. The plus ones give you more stuff, so you actually get a chocobo. You can ride around the open areas, which is nice because running is stupid in this game. And so those are worth doing.
Instead of like the running of Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah, he walks, and there's no run button. You have to wait about 3 seconds, and then he starts sprinting on his own. And if you stop, you have to restart the whole animation over again, and then start sprinting.
So weird.
So the game should not be an open world game in the slightest. Like, it's an extraordinarily frustrating game. But like literally, like, but then you hit these main points, and you're like, good lord, this is like I finished the first kind of okay. So you have the intro of the game, then you have the build up to actual story, then you have the first kind of arc boss thing. And after you finish that, I was like, I feel like I just played the end of a game. That was so epic. That was incredible. That was so good. But then it just kind of becomes a rinse and repeat thing, which I've realized. So I would guess 3/4 through it. I haven't played it like a week because of the open area stuff. Just frustrates me that much.
You've killed God how many times?
Yeah, several. So. But like it literally it does that weird rinse and repeat thing where it's like, hey, you're gonna go. It's just. It doesn't diverge from the formula in the slightest, but it doesn't help itself by having that kind of cycle because it breaks it up with these open areas where it's like, hey, go talk to the head of the prostitutes, and she's going to go send you on a couple errands that don't matter in the slightest. You're going to go talk to 10 people for no reason in an empty area that isn't interesting to look at in the slightest. And then you can talk to prostitutes, and then you can go back to the
head of prostitutes. Is that a pimp?
Of prostitutes.
And so yeah, the game is just eternally frustrating. And then the actual like, because you get different abilities and junk throughout the game, and like the upgrade tree that it gives you is like the whole sections for the powers you get as you go along, but it doesn't give you any actual satisfying ability to mix them. And people will talk about, oh, this combat is so complicated. So I'm like, it's not. You get different colored abilities that have like element abilities to it, and then you get a couple abilities in that you can pick between, and you only have X or square or triangle to put it on. And so you're just cycling. They're like, oh man, you get the mixture of the things. And you just cycle through it, use them, and then they refresh, and then you cycle through and use them. Like I would much rather it be, because it has kind of like Dark Soulsian style combat to where it's more of like the dodge, but it's much faster than Dark Souls. It's like akin to Bloodborne more. But you have your dodge mechanics, and you have this really cool dash like dive in ability with one of them. But like the actual base combat is great, but everyone talks about the powers being deep and interesting to use. And I'm like, I just cycled through it, and I'm like, oh, that'll be kind of cool to use here. I'm sure that works. That's probably optimal. Sure, I'll do that. Whatever. I don't know. It's an extraordinarily frustrating game.
Well, I'm kind of curious because open world is kind of like not really a thing for Final Fantasy. It's more of like you have travel mechanics, and then you travel to your destination. Like in 7, you had the high wind, the airship.
Mm-hmm.
And you could travel like the world, but traveling the world wasn't, the thing. It was just a mechanic that you used to go to a different level, and you could choose where you went. Cool. That's awesome. But it wasn't like hours and hours and hours of just slogging through the world. And even in Final... go ahead.
No, finish your thought. Sorry.
Well, even in like 15 though, like there was an open world mechanic to it, but there was a lot to do in Final Fantasy 15. I remember getting stuck in dungeons. Like, where am I at right now? I have no idea what I'm doing, but like, I just followed this one little rabbit trail, and it just kept going and going and going and going until I was like, oh, well, that was cool. I got a new weapon out of that. I didn't plan on that, but that was fun. But I'm kind of curious if they're going with this, how they're going to do the new Final Fantasy VII, because they've addressed the fact that, oh yeah, we're going to have an open world mechanic for 7 or 7 Part 2, whatever you want to call it. And so I'm kind of worried now.
But you want to say what you're going to say, Jared?
I was just going to say they went back to like Final Fantasy 1 and 2, where you're just traveling the map, random encounters.
I was going to ask, Michael, I am interested. Where did you kind of pick up on the Final Fantasies? Because I'm guessing you weren't like 1 and 2.
No.
Like
the first one I played was 10, way back in like PS2 era. So I kind of just bounced around from there.
The most emo.
I love 10. 10's a
emo. It's the most goofy.
I was about to say, you go back to that, it is so not serious now. It's an absolute delight. I played it when they did the remaster version a couple years ago. Oh my gosh, the game is so goofy. It's so delightful.
I love the laughing scene.
I just yell Blitzball the whole time I'm playing that game.
Blitzball!
Dude, okay. I will say, like, when you said skill tree, I still get flashbacks to the skill tree from Final Fantasy X. That thing was massive, and I got lost all the time in that skill tree. It was like, what is this?
Yeah, this one you're definitely not going to get lost in because, like, there's the weird, like, mechanics of upgrading. Like, you're going off the leveling system. Like, it's just not interesting in the slightest. Oh, do this to Clive, add this to Clive, change your swords. All it really does is change the look of the sword. The game. Oh, also another thing, so annoying. They do a thing to where you, like, to platinum the game, you have to beat it on the hardest difficulty. You don't get the hardest difficulty until you beat the game on normal.
Oh yeah, I've heard that.
The game is. I think I died in the beginning, and I haven't died since. Like, it's so easy. That's what's so frustrating. But it's also like, they have big health bars, so you're playing forever. So it's still interesting to play it. But it's like, make this challenging, make it interesting. But going off of what you're saying with the 7, I wouldn't be worried about 7 because there are different directors. This is Final Fantasy 16 is the guy that did Final Fantasy 14, the online one, and he's and it also has the combat director for like Devil May Cry 5, which is where that comes in. But
that's kind of weird because like Final Fantasy 14 has a massive following. Like,
apparently, what people have complaints about this are they're like, yeah, that's in 14, but it is. I mean, it is like 16. When you're in the story and you're in the mode, you're like, this is flipping incredible. Like, this is HBO level stuff. This is an incredible. But I'm like, why would you not just mainline it, or at least give the option to? If people want to go waste their time tracking down, like I've had, I think maybe 2 interesting side quests, and that's it. And like you said with 15, like 15 was an open world with stuff to do, like the fishing, the random junk, the encounters, the people. Like, there is so little life to the open areas, especially the first one. Like, there's a sand one area that has a little bit more, not interactivity. Like, you can't actually do anything there, but it's just visually more interesting than the first area, which is just a stone, old-fashioned, rocky, like, village with nothing in it, no one to talk to, and you can't really talk to NPCs. You, like, walk up next to them and they'll have, like, a comment or something, but that's it. But like, compared to 15, like, I'm like, these are some fun stuff, interesting things to do, weird things to collect. I'm like, why on earth add these ridiculous? Yeah, you can cook. Like, you can't do literally anything in the side areas of this. There is nothing to do except there's always a shop and there's a mission guy. That's it.
That's kind of disappointing because everything I hear about Final Fantasy 14 is like, because it's an MMO. I get it. Yeah, people. It's not exactly accessible to like the Joe Blow on the street, but everything I've heard about like the fandoms from that is like, oh yeah, it's like some of the best story and writing you've ever seen, like ever. But that's kind of sad.
And that's honestly how this is. Like, if this was a mainline game, I would have devoured it already. Like, it would have been done. But I'm just like, God, I don't want to go back and waste all the time in between the really, really, really great stuff. I just want to do the great stuff and move on. Like, I don't want to, but it's so I'm very torn between. I should have finished the game a long time ago. But
does anyone have a favorite Final Fantasy?
7. I mean,
I've only played 7 Remake, so I've only played part 1, so I don't know where to go from there. I have a massive 10 is nostalgic, but like 15 is such a soft spot for me. Like, that game just has these weird notes that I love so much. It's so goofy and ridiculous, but it hits home so hard in spots. I'm like, man.
Wait, so nobody likes 8?
Never played 8.
Carlos,
it's
what is 8 and 9? Because I know like most of them. I don't know 8 and 9.
8 is Squall, man. 8 is Squall and the gun, the Gunblade
card system or whatever.
Isn't 6 everyone's like highest revered one?
Yeah.
I need to.
My favorite is 1.
They just re-put the pixel remasters on like the collection on PlayStation, so they look different. They're like updated and everything. I need to actually go back and play it.
Really, the first
what
one
is 9?
Yeah. They put 1 through 9. I think they put all of them on there.
I don't remember 9.
I have no idea.
The correct answer is Chrono Trigger is the best Final Fantasy game, but moving on. Thomas, what would you like to talk about this week?
Okay, so it's just a question, and I came up with this like 10 minutes before we started the podcast because I had nothing to talk about. What is your number 1 gaming waifu? Go.
Oh, that's easy. Gaming waifu?
Yeah.
2B. It's not even a contest.
To be or not to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
exactly,
from
Michael.
From Nier?
Yeah.
Oh, from near.
Dude. There's like
Tifa until
I know Joseph's. I just
trying
know.
to think of a different one.
There's no other one. What are you talking about? Like you mention her almost every other gaming podcast.
I have no idea what Joseph says. What is your Joseph?
Miranda, Mass Effect 2.
Oh.
Like, didn't even have to think about it. I said it.
That's fantastic. That's not a waifu. That's a vacation.
I know,
that's a real woman.
Monument to womanhood right there.
Jesus Christ. Oh man. That's an interesting one. I feel like anyone in Final Fantasy VII Remake just negates every other character in anything ever, because that game is just full of people you want to be with, men and women both, man. Like that remake, I was playing, I was like, oh my god, why do I love everyone in this? And the answer is Jessie from Final Fantasy VII Remake. 1000%.
Jessie from the remake. Jessie in the original was like dead within like 20 minutes.
Oh, she is Dream in 7 Remake. But outside of that, I don't know.
The Persona 3 and 4 girls, they're hard to choose from. Both those games.
Chie.
Yeah, Chie is fun. She's not the one you start, like, you wouldn't have a crush immediately on her, but her personality like grows on you while you're
Shout out to On in 5. People really like
On.
poo-pooed on her like when it first came out, but she's a nice person.
It's good heart.
I don't really care for the 5 girls.
Well, there's one that doesn't have a personality that you get at the end of the game, and then there's the one Carlos likes, and that's terrible.
Oh yeah, that's problematic.
That's borderline. Yeah, that's borderline problematic there. Oh, I need to go. Sorry.
Yeah, you gotta
sorry,
go.
My bad. I was like, oh, this is interesting. So mine would have to be honorable mentions to some of the Persona girls, because I mean, there's so many that like one eventually fits your personality like somewhere. I think Tali from Mass Effect 2, or just Mass Effect in general, is my favorite.
Ellie in love.
There's that thing. It's like,
what is under that mask?
I don't know, but
well, they show you, right? We
I think
had
so,
that week.
Kind of, yeah. But that's the thing, is that you like her for her personality. It doesn't even matter what she looks like.
No, I like her with Garrus. That's the one where like
it's cute.
You
need
to be with Garrus.
My flip on that is, if I do play FemShep, it's Garrus 100%, because he's the other gaming waifu. Because I mean, who doesn't want to be with sexy space cop? I mean, come on. He's Garrus for Carrion.
Wants to be in between Garrus and Tali.
I watched enough Star Trek that it was bound to happen sometime. So, and we brought it back to Star Trek, Michael. There you go.
Dear Lord.
Podcast complete.
What do you guys think of Bastila?
Huh?
She's kind of boring because she's all work. She doesn't care about.
It's a lot of effort to put in. Like I get it. She's.
I just
powerful.
give, and she doesn't.
But she's British.
Who is that? Why can't I think of who that is?
Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah,
okay. I was like,
hey, it's way better than Karth. I'm just saying. Like
anything's better than Karth.
Anything is better than Karth.
That droid running from his owner is better than Karth.
That is one of my favorite storylines. It's like how intimate were you?
Yeah, there's a droid you meet on your little journeys, and he is freaked out.
He does not consent.
Like, what is wrong with you, droid? And he's like, my master makes me do things that
no. The
I
thing
don't want to talk about.
You encounter the droid in a field that's attempting to be eaten by like these animals, like trying to kill itself. And you kill the animals, and then you're like, what's wrong with you? And they're like, can you please kill me? Please? Please kill me. And you're like, what?
Goodness.
And
did you kill him?
No, I let him go.
You let him go?
I let him
Dark
go.
Side points.
No. I let him go. And I said to the owner that he died in the the wilderness, and then she found.
Yeah.
Then
Isn't
she
that
found
like the nicest way to do it?
Yeah.
I like telling the lady, "Yo, he's over there," and he's
man,
and then he's like, "Why did you do
back.
this to me?"
Well, and like the conversation, he's like, so part of it is that her husband died, and she associates the droid with being her husband, and she's like, he treats me like her husband, and your character was like, how much does she treat you? And he was like, I'd rather not answer that.
I think
so.
I forgot about my wife for years, Karen from
Yeah,
Harvest
I was
Moon.
just gonna bring that up.
Oh,
Harvest
Lord.
Moon 64 has the best romance mechanic in any game.
That's the most. Has the most. You work for that love, all right? You work for it. Like you earned that love.
I trust this person with my life, and they drop an egg, which is worth like 50 G's a pop. It's unforgivable.
I don't like eggs. Bam.
He's like, well, dropped an egg.
Well,
like,
cool. Can you be a serial killer in Harvest Moon? Because I'll try.
Dang, Thomas, it's dark. All right.
But worth it, right?
I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode, unless anyone has any last thoughts.
So on this Gundam game, I just want to say.
So like, subscribe, and notify yourself for even more good stuff. And we'll see you next time.
Has anyone played Star Trek Bridge Crew?
Doesn't exist. It's not real.
See ya.